Gentlemen, very good morning. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
I mean, that video is just, it's mind-boggling. You know, we can always talk about why we drive, I'm going to use this word like idiots, because that we can never condone in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the subject matter here, which is car limiters. They're being introduced in Europe. It's a technology called Intelligent Speed Assistance, ISA. Francisco, tell us about this.
Well, with this kind of systems, you've already actually got them somewhat in place, because if you look at technologies such as advanced cruise control, it actually works in most vehicles. Most cars with cruise control, you can actually set the speed limits already in the car. It's just that now it's going to be more of a more hardcore implementation, so to speak. Even in South Africa, with cars that have got those technologies, it will actually tell you that, you know, where you're traveling right now, you're traveling in a 60k zone or an 80k zone. And I know that in Europe, they can actually set it to 112 miles per hour, which is also quite interesting because that is still 180 kilometers an hour. So it is a higher speed, and you will actually still be able to override the system on top of that, because most people feel like they're being policed. But is 180 kilometers, you know, too slow? I don't think so at all. So
it's still fast.
It's still very fast. It is still very fast, yeah.
The question has to be, what happens if you've got that limiter on and you want to overtake?
So that's where the override function comes into play. So you will actually be able to, if you actually press the accelerator hard enough, you'll be able to override the system. And it's a thing, like I said, in South Africa, you've already actually got those systems. If you actually go into most cars with cruise control, you can actually set either cruise control or a speed limit function. It's just that you're not forced to do it in the vehicles today.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we need to start forcing people to do it, looking at that video. But Howard, thank you for coming in this morning. Let's talk about the law here. One thing that's really scary about that video is the fact that these guys were racing broad daylight for quite a while. For you to reach 322 kilometers per hour, you have to have been driving for quite a while, and they were racing for quite a while. Why were there no police traffic officials on that highway?
Well, the curious part of all of this is the fact that we rely so heavily on electronic law enforcement. In other words, we deploy speed cameras, we go and hide them in the bushes, etc., to operate it as portable ATMs for the traffic authorities, with the greatest of respect. They have absolutely no consequence, and this is proof, on their habitual speeding that takes place in South Africa. Now, this is an extreme case, but let's be very honest. That person should have been stopped, they should have been arrested, they should have been charged with reckless driving. Forget about the fact that they were so high over the speed limit.
Yeah.
That is reckless behavior, and it is in total disregard of the safety of all other road users. So the fact is that we need much more physical policing. If I tell you that the reliance on electronic speed measuring equipment in the Joburg municipality is actually 98% of the speed enforcement that takes place.
Why are you saying it's
2%.
unreliable? Because if I get caught, they've got my number plate, they've got me, you know, they've got me doing 300 kilometers an hour.
And then then they summon you 2 years in 2 years' time. Well, how does that prevent the very serious danger that is presented by a person driving at that speed on a freeway or any other road at that particular time? Are you going to feel comforted if your wife and kids are driving along the freeway and this guy gets a love letter in the post 2 months later saying, "We're going to summon you"? Meantime, he's killed your wife and kids.
In South Africa, if you're driving over 40 kilometers or whatever the speed limit is, automatically you get arrested, Francisco.
Yes. So they call it a non-admission of guilt. So either if they are trapping you physically, or it comes in the mail to say that you're traveling 40 k's over the speed limit. The problem, as Howard was mentioning now, is that in those kind of speeds, there's no control. A lot of the time, drivers feel that I'm the man, I can control myself in that space. But the problem is that you've got other drivers in the equation, and that's where, you know, we spend a lot of time on the racetrack. And on the racetrack, you can drive the speeds because it's set up for that kind of thing. But if there's actually impact at that kind of speed, that's where the problem comes. Is that you know, it's one thing to see the car, but the bike actually got to 300 itself. And the man's
that's
wearing
very
a
true.
T-shirt at 300 kilometers on a motorbike. That is insane. I mean, if you would literally be in pieces if something went wrong there. So, yeah.
It's irresponsible, and you're alluding to this, Howard, and we know it is irresponsible. But you look at a country like Germany, and they've got on their autobahns, you can go whatever speed you want in certain sections of their highways, but they don't record as many accidents as we do. And yet we have a limit of 120 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, look, it's all very well that we start comparing South Africa to Germany, but let's be honest, the Autobahn is not speed limitless over its entire distance. That's the first thing. And secondly, the quality of drivers in Germany is chalk and cheese to South Africa, to be very honest with you. We have incredibly incompetent drivers in South Africa. It's an unfortunate situation, but we do. And this idea of bravado, I've got myself a fancy car, it's got great safety features. What people don't understand is that even in that GTR, if you hit something solid, like a concrete barrier,
you're gone.
at 300 k's an hour, your vehicle and you are going to disintegrate.
Very true, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming through. Talking to me this morning, Chairperson of the Justice Project, Howard Dubowski, and also Motoring Essay Editor, Francisco Nwamba, always in studio with me every single Sunday. Okay.